We're rolling. We're here at the weigh-in at Mitten Muay Thai 02, day before the fights. And yeah, we're just having another conversation with our coach because the last one got fucked up. What do you enjoy most about teaching Muay Thai?
What I enjoy teaching most about Muay Thai.
What do you enjoy most?
Impact. You can make a very big difference. I'm going to take my mustache off because it's ridiculous. You can make a very big impact in somebody's life, and the effects are immediate and salient. When you work a job for a company, you might do a good job or you might do a bad job, but maybe you're a cog in the wheel and you might not even be aware whether you're having an impact or not. Okay. With Muay Thai and just with coaching in general, coaching, teaching, these are callings, I think, and you can really have a big impact on somebody's life.
Yeah, for sure. And what's the biggest lesson that you've learned through training, competing, like all the aspects of Muay Thai? You've fought, you've trained a lot, obviously, and you've trained other people. What's probably the biggest lesson that you've learned through all of that?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that the process outweighs the outcome, right? If you focus on the process, the outcomes will eventually reflect that. You might put in tons and tons and tons of hard work. You might have a great camp. You might have great training partners. Your nutrition might be on point. You might make the weight, and you might still lose.
Yep.
The outcome's not guaranteed in fighting, much like life. But I think when you put the focus on the process, if you really nail the process, eventually the outcomes, in the long run, the outcomes will reflect that.
Yeah, and I think if you just put your head down and focus, it makes you a better person in the end as well. Whether you win or lose the fight, you still come out a better person in the end, I feel like.
I agree with that.
Was there a specific moment in your life that changed your whole perspective on teaching, training, or fighting?
No. I think the whole notion of having a eureka moment is probably maybe a little bit romantic or a little bit misguided. Right. I think, like most things, it is the slow, gradual, incremental gain day after day after day, and that cumulatively is what makes the difference.
Right. So you're like throughout your entire teaching days, your perspective and your philosophy hasn't changed at all?
It's definitely changed, but I think you don't set out to build the Great Wall of China.
Sure.
You put each brick as perfectly as you can day after day after day, and next thing you know, you got this fantastic looking wall.
Sure.
I think coaching is very similar to that.
Okay. And then if you could choose one thing to change about the world's perception of Muay Thai, what would that be?
Now that's an interesting question. Change the perception. I would like that they have any perception. I would like that they pay attention more than anything else. I don't care what people think, as long as they watch, as long as they pay attention. Right. Because if they're paying attention, then my fighters are able to make money and make a living doing Muay Thai, and that's the dream.
Sure. I remember last time you talked about owning a gym in Dubai. Mm-hmm. First of all, how did you get there? How did you end up owning a gym in Dubai?
Okay, so I was fighting professionally at the time. I had just gotten back. I think I did like a year in Thailand, and I came back and I was fighting in the States. And you really can't make a living, or you couldn't back then. Still, it's difficult, but you couldn't make a living, fighting and Muay Thai at the time. And so I was fighting professional MMA, and I think I had a stint of about maybe 8 fights in a row that canceled last minute. And you might put in a 6-week training camp, and the fight gets canceled the week of, you don't get a dime.
No, yeah. Time wasted.
Right. So I was living in the gym. I would work at my parents' bar on weekends in order to supplement my income. And I just got so frustrated with the whole thing that I moved to Dubai on a whim. My old training partner from Thailand, he was out there coaching and said, hey, we'd love to have you out if you want to start, coaching some kickboxing and Muay Thai out here. And so overnight I was like, yeah, sure, and moved out. And I think I was maybe there just a few months and thought that I would try my hand at owning a gym out there. So.
Okay. So what's the difference between owning a gym here in the States and over in Dubai, whether it's like the clients or whatever?
Okay, so generally, small business is a very difficult thing in Dubai because you're competing with these giant companies and corporations. You're also competing against super wealthy private owners, maybe royal families, things like that. And Dubai is also a place where the resources are very high. You can make a lot of money there, but it's a very difficult place to put out high-level fighters because it's very transient, right? Think of like a college town. People are going to Dubai to make money and live the life, but they're not staying there. They might stay for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in some cases. But if you want to put out a homegrown world champ, that's going to take a decade or two. You need stability in terms of the climate. And I think in terms of Detroit, there's that in spades. There's more. I've been to a lot of places in the world, and I don't think I've ever been anywhere that has more untapped potential for putting out high-level fighters than Metro Detroit.
I think it's just the blue-collar culture and just the grit that comes with being from this area, because we don't get a lot of recognition as it is. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
For sure, yeah. There's a Midwestern ethos here, for sure.
If you could pick to own a gym anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Here. Yeah. Genuinely, if I wanted to own a gym somewhere else, I think I probably would. I've thought about maybe moving. I'm not a huge fan of the cold after living in the desert for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I've thought and I've toyed with the idea of opening a gym in like the Virgin Islands and moving to like the Caribbean or something. But I'm not a big fan of hurricanes or floods or anything like that. So I don't know. I think I'd do it for a couple of years and end up right back here.
Right. I think the stability, it's just the best here, because there's always going to be hungry people wanting to fight and make a name for themselves. Maybe not fight, but at least make a name for themselves. In the Midwest region, I think. Do you prefer training experienced fighters or beginners? Like someone that comes in with experience and knows a little bit about what they're doing, or do you start from scratch?
There's pros and cons to either. I don't like working with somebody with zero experience because when I first moved to Dubai, it wasn't about putting out good fighters. It was making a living. I was transitioning from my professional career, and so I was coaching mostly people who just wanted to get in shape and learn some Muay Thai and kickboxing and that kind of stuff. And so that entry-level session, like, okay, here's your stance, here's how you throw a jab, here's how you throw a cross. I've taught that so many times. I could do it verbatim, word for word, without batting an eyelid, because I've taught it so many times. So I don't really care for that. Conversely, when you do get experienced people who maybe don't have great mechanics or who have, they don't have bad habits, you're fighting a different kind of battle. It's how much value can I give this person? If they've been training, maybe they're a high-level pro already. They've been training for 15 years. Do you try to switch some of these mechanics like that? Probably not. At that point, it's all right. How can I get the most out of this person's style, or what can I give this person to make them better?
If you had to pick one superpower to have in Muay Thai, what do you think would be the most effective?
The ability to control time.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking like invisibility or something, maybe.
Have you ever seen blindfold Thai boxing?
No.
You should. It's genuinely fantastic. Two guys, they throw blindfolds on, they get all their gear on, and there's a ref, but usually the ref gets clobbered as well because they just sort of feel the way around. And as soon as you feel something, man, you start swinging. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah, because maybe if you were invisible, you could maybe get cornered a little bit and just start teeing off on you.
Right.
I think that's probably the best answer. Just be able to pause time and just tee off. And like the movie, you ever seen the movie Click? Adam Sandler?
Yes.
Where he like pauses time, kicks him in the nuts, and like unpause the time, he's like, oh.
Right. And I mean, you can go back in time and fight different fighters and train with different coaches, and you're not limited if you got control of time.
Yeah. You could beat pretty much anyone if you could just pause.
And I mean, that's the only truly non-renewable resource. I mean, you can get more money, you can get bigger and stronger, you can get faster, but you can never get more time.
You could pause time and stay there for as long as you want, and pause and replay, and it's still the same time. So that's a pretty powerful tool, I'd say. This is a little fight situation for you.
Okay.
3 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Muay Thai rules only. You versus a kangaroo.
I'll whip a kangaroo's ass.
Okay.
Not one of the big giant ones. Those. I've been to Australia before, and they've got the what are they? The big reds or whatever. I mean, those things are like, they look down at you.
Yeah.
But the smaller ones that we've got around here, like if you're talking, let's go to the zoo and fight a kangaroo. Yeah.
Okay. What about like just like the wild ones in Australia, like a average sized wild? Kangaroo?
I don't know that I'm familiar with the average size and weight of kangaroos. So,
6 foot.
6 foot.
5'10", like decent size, like.
And it's just Muay Thai rules.
Yep. If we had a ref in there and they threw a headbutt, we'd stop it and deduct a point.
Yeah, I'd probably have to outsmart him, and I'd clinch with him and lure him into biting me or something like that. Because
just
I have to use my human brain to outsmart him.
Right. As a fighter, what would you rate yourself?
I mean, I was a mid-level professional at best. Maybe a 6, 7.
A 6, 7? All right. We'll see what everyone else has to say about that.
Okay.
Thank you again for sitting down with us, and hopefully this footage doesn't get construed.
Right on.
Thank you for sitting down with us.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, take that thing off.
I was gonna throw out an hola. Hola, vatos.